back to the Washington Way. Glad y'all could tune in. Glad y'all came here to join us. It's been a minute since we made a video. Our last video was our empty house home tour. If you haven't seen it, go drop it. I'm gonna put it right here or right here, one of them. Just make sure you watch it. Today, this video is gonna be about really the process from end to end. We got a lot of questions on what was our process as far as the beginning to the end. So I'm gonna go over a lot of those steps and give you an insight of what we went through and what a lot of people will go through when they're in the home buying process. First process that we had was finding the area. One of the things that Kiera and I were very adamant about was finding an area where both of our commutes were easy. I work at Alpharetta and she works in downtown Atlanta, so two opposite sides of Atlanta, which is very hard to find an in-between because living in Atlanta is very expensive. So we wanted something to be affordable. So that was one of the major things that came into us finding a house. So before you even start looking, find out where you want to live, the price points there, you know, what are the highs, what are the lows, you know, what's good about the area, what's bad about the area. My second point is find a price. Once we found the area, we looked at how much are the houses in that area, the different type of houses in that area. One other thing that we did do was, before we found the realtor, we went to that area to see if there were like any open homes. We checked out a few open homes without a realtor, a few new construction properties. What is actually crazy is the property across the street from us, we actually looked at that property back in July, and we closed in December, and we didn't even know that we would be closing right across the street from the property. So that gave us an insight of new construction homes, how they look. But number three, find a realtor. Once you find the area and the price point, finding a realtor is key. Our realtor was Shamoy Crab. He works at England Voger. Very great realtor. He did everything that he could for us, went above and beyond expectations. So if you're in the Atlanta area and you need a realtor, Shamoy Crab is a very great realtor. Him and his team are very professional. They work around the clock to get a lot of our offers in before we went the resale route. And then once we hopped out the resale route, they helped us a lot with the new construction process. So finding a realtor that will work for you and find what's best for you and what you really want actually helps. I actually went to Florida State with Shamoy, so we did have a previous relationship for that. So finding a realtor is very key. But once you find a realtor, one thing they're gonna want you to do is have a pre-approval letter, so you can start looking at houses. So once you get that pre-approval letter and you provide it to your realtor, that then binds you to a contract, because they'll give you a contract saying basically they work for you for trying to find a house. So once I got my pre-approval letters, one thing that I took away from this process was I wish somebody would have told me I didn't have to get my credit pulled from all the lenders that I went with. So I have pretty good credit. I'm in the mid 700 range, and I actually went through 5 different creditors that my realtor provided for me. So I just wanted to see the difference between the 5. One thing to note, you don't have to do that. I would just get the median score from one and then go to the other ones, because they have tools that'll let you know where your credit is and where your mortgage would be and how much they'll offer you based on what you give them before they pull your credit. So one thing that I take away from my experience, I would recommend people to do that. so that you don't have all those inquiries on your credit account. Which, I mean, I had 5, but it would have helped if, you know, I would have took out 1, even though when you get those 5 within the 2-week period that you have to try to get a mortgage, it would have been 1. So that's something I would recommend. But once you do get your pre-approval letter, you're all set. Next point is the money for down payment, escrow, and inspections. A lot of people don't know. Once you are in the process for buying a house, especially now, it's very critical to have your money right, because it is a seller's market. It's not a buyer's market right now. So you're not really gonna have a lot of help as far as like down payment assistance when you're going for like resale properties. In our case, we went with the new construction home. We actually did the resale option, and it was a mess. I mean, we were putting in offers for homes that were 280, 290, 260, 270, and people were coming in with cash offers. And we were just like, wow, like, y'all got that much cash? So that was very surprising, and it was very hard, because you would fall in love with a home once you go and watch it, and then the next day, boom, it's off the market because a cash offer comes in. So we actually went with the new construction route. So we went with DHI Mortgage. That mortgage company was part of our builder, which is DR Horton. They are the lender for DR Horton, and they do offer incentives if you go with their lender, and if you don't go with their lender, there's some disadvantages. One of the disadvantages with not going with their lender is you have to pay, I want to say it was like a 7% escrow fee, which is ridiculous because that's more than a down payment. But in our case, we went with DHI Mortgage, and all I had to do was pay the 1%, which was $3,000, and then they gave me $4,000 in assistance. And their interest rates were actually really, really low. So once I was going through the pre-approval process, that's one thing I didn't talk about was the interest rates. So make sure your interest rates and APRs are, you know, in line with what you want and what you can afford. So a lot of the companies that I went with, banks and stuff like that, my interest rate was gonna be around 2.8, 2.9. I had some that were like 3.1s, which I was like, I'm not gonna go with you because I found people that are gonna give me 2.8s. So DHI Mortgage actually gave me a 2.5 interest rate, which is really, really low. I talked to a lot of my friends, and they're like, I don't know how you got that, but yeah, they gave me a 2.5, and that's what I got at closing. So I trusted in them, knowing that, look, if you go give me this 2.5, man, I would love to take this house. So make sure you have your escrow money, your down payment, and your inspection money. So your inspection money, usually that's not gonna be due until about, 2 to 3 weeks prior to closing. So most inspections are about $500. So you just have to keep those costs in mind whenever you're looking for a house. And then your down payment costs, you're gonna have to wire that money in. If you don't know how to wire, it's pretty simple. Most of you just have to go to a bank and let them know that you're trying to do a same-day wire transfer for the day that you're trying to close. But once you do get your mortgage and everything in line, the next process is really, they're gonna ask you for a lot of documents. So once you get that pre-approval letter and you let them know that, hey, I wanna go with you as my company, they're gonna ask you for your bank statements, they're gonna ask you for your W-2s, where did you stay, where do you work, how much do you make? They're gonna ask you a lot of questions, and they're really gonna be monitoring your bank account and how you spend, and they're gonna pull your credit at the end on closing to make sure that you're not making any large purchases. So if you are looking for a home and you are in the process of buying a home, don't make any large purchases over, I would say, like $1,000, because that can hurt you on closing day. So it was kind of hard because I was, constantly just reminding myself not to make big purchases, to make only the normal purchases that I've made, which I let them know. And I did tell them that, I'm in the process of having a wedding. So Kiera and I are getting married this year on May 29th. So I had to let them know that I had to make a large payment in December for our venue. So they were cool with that. They were understanding. So just make sure you don't make any large purchases. So next, really, once you get through all the paperwork and your pre-approvals and stuff like that, your next thing is to get approved by the lender. Once you get approved by the lender, it's all, pretty easy. Our process was pretty smooth. I think the only thing that we had to worry about was just making sure that we had the money for closing, which, is really up to you. I've been saving and making sure my money was right for closing day. And our closing day, actually at the attorney's office, was very smooth. I wired the money the day before. So it got there immediately, sent them an email, and they sent me an email back. The attorney's office said, "We received your money." So that was pretty cool. So really, we did everything electronically. DHI Mortgage, they do e-close, which they sent me the closing documents the day before. I reviewed those closing documents, I signed them, and then once I got to the attorney's office, I had to sign maybe 8 or 9 pieces of paper, and then they gave me the keys. So it was a pretty smooth process. I know a lot of people on closing day pre-pandemic really had to go through and read everything and sign. So the e-close did work out in our favor, but that's really it. So pretty smooth process from my side. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of investigating on, buying a house, becoming a homeowner, what it takes. So I did that for about 2 years. I want to say that Kiera and I were looking for a house back in 2019. We went on a lot of trips then, so that didn't happen. But, I just kept on making sure that I was ready for whenever the time may be. And I was just really trying to make sure I was ready for the time be. And because of that, I was in a position to make sure that we were set for getting a house. Friends of ours, they gave us a lot of advice and information. Shan and Darian, Tronika and Garrett, they made sure that we knew what they went through whenever they got a house. And, they really motivated us to go and get this house. I mean, the interest rates were low. We were paying $1,325 for renting an apartment versus, our mortgage is around $1,500 now. So I was like, you can't beat that.